Welcome to Day in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and I'm excited because this is actually our last episode of June because we're taking 2 weeks off. Next week, I have a conflict, and the week after, our production team is traveling to an awesome event in New York. And so we will see you all back here again on July 3rd. But in the meantime, got lots of good stuff to talk about today. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Samantha. Thanks.
Glad to have you here. I know I really appreciate it because I know you must be very busy this week preparing for budget and city council and all the things that are happening there.
Yeah, tonight's the budget hearing at 7 o'clock. So we're just a couple hours away getting final touches. And we have a presentation on the PFAS for the bond authorization. And that should be about it.
Just a little thing like the whole city budget.
Yeah. And then we have Student Government Day tomorrow, which is exciting. That's it's a little later this year, but that's when the students at the high school, the format's changed a little bit. They do a civics project, and then they get selected to match up with one of the department heads, and we meet here tomorrow and do a mock budget, and then do a lunch sponsored by the Rotary Club, which is really nice.
That's awesome. What a great experience for students to get to see government in real action and all that. That's really cool. Well, when we come back in July, you'll have to tell us how it went. I'm sure
we'll do.
That's awesome. And I remember last year we had the teacher who organized it, or curriculum coordinator. I'm sure I'm getting her title wrong. And it was, students really enjoyed it. It was a great program.
She was good. Mrs. Miller. Miss Miller.
I'm glad you remember.
Yep. Very good.
Out of the tip of my tongue. I also know that we have later on one of our guests is from MACA's mission, which I'm really excited to talk to them about an upcoming event. But it made me think about, I know we had that opiate awareness grant, and I think City Council has already approved that, but maybe I'm wrong. Is that part of this week's meetings, or is that? No,
that's part of that position's included in the budget. They've accepted the funding. So once they accept the funding, the mayor can use that to for the intended purposes, and that's what we'll be doing. We've got a position in the budget, full-time position, and we'll be looking into hiring that sometime between now and early fall.
That's awesome. I also know, I just want to make, because we're talking about positions and things, the rec department had a bunch of positions open, I believe, over the summer. I'm not sure if you have a sense of if those are filled or they're still looking for people. I know they had lifeguards and summer camp staff. And
you know what, I think Rory would be the better person. She does the hiring on that, but they've in past years, they have had difficulty getting lifeguards. I think the park positions fill up quickly. We have a few left on the city side. If people are interested, they certainly call my office.
Great. And I know there's some positions posted on the city website as well. So anybody is interested in those too.
Yeah, the DPW has some full-time positions, which are good, labor positions. So if there are people out there who are looking for jobs, they should check the city website. And, we've got a couple other positions that, as always, check with Human Resources. Their positions are usually listed on the website.
Awesome. The last thing I wanted to bring up today, because we're talking about budget and money and economy and all that stuff. Last year was the first year we had an economic director position, which was great. We had a chance to meet our new economic director a few weeks ago. And as you look at next year, now that we kind of have a year under our belt, what are your hopes for that position and some of the things you hope they'll be focused on?
So that economic development, so it has nothing to do with the finances of the city.
Oh, correct. I just meant we're talking about money. Thank you for the clarification.
Right. Yeah, that position is we brought that on with the assistance of the WRA, and it's actually it took us a while to fill it, Samantha, but once we filled it. And Casey Haggerty's a young go-getter who's really interested in the job and has been a perfect selection for the position. So I know she's been on your show. Her job is really to twofold. It's the main job is to really talk about the benefits for companies to locating in Woburn, helps build our tax base, and that's one of the things she does. Secondarily, she's working on Woburn Center, which is a little bit more of a it's a difficult battle because the tenants downtown are somewhat limited. They're limited to good restaurants, so we're trying to get that word out. Restaurants and other as the downtowns have changed over the years, they're not like a mall type atmosphere, but they've transformed, and her job is really to bring some more life to the downtown. And we've been doing that with a combination of residential over the top of the retail and trying to get some good retailers in. And, I think after COVID, we're rebounding with that. And, we've had a couple good construction projects down there. That Pocket Park's coming along. We've added parking. So, we're excited about the opportunities for downtowns and doing our best to spice it up a little down there.
That's great. And I think if I'm correct, the recreational marijuana facility is open now in Woburn or about to be open. I know I've seen a signage.
It should be open. I mean, the permit was granted. I know they were going through some last minute things with the state, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't know if it's all open. I know because it had, Samantha, been the medicinal. So it's really just switching from medicinal to recreational. So I don't go in there, but the medicinal's been open for quite some time, and they're changing it to the recreation. And there hasn't been a grand opening yet.
Yeah, they're changing it or they're adding?
Oh, I think it's a combination of two. They will keep both, but it's the medicinal still is part of the whole overall business plan. But what I meant to say is that medicinal's always been there, so I really haven't noticed. I haven't noticed the big change, but I'm waiting for the grand opening for the recreational part.
Yeah, great. Well, I just thought I'd mention it because I know that that was something that's a recent addition. Awesome. Anything else that you'd like to cover off of before I let you go?
No, I mean, we're looking forward to the Juneteenth celebration. I know Phil's
on today. We'll be talking
on,
about
so he can. I don't want to steal his thunder, but he's done a great job organizing, and he's put together quite a program in a good day, and it's just growing year to year, and I'm sure he's gonna, get through this year, but he feels pretty entrepreneurial, and I'm sure he's got more suggestions and plans for next year to make it bigger and better. But every year has gotten better with Phil, so we're happy to work with him and looking forward to Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing event. It's so much planned. I look forward to chatting with it. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
Good to see you.
Next up, we have our new high school principal, Dan.
Can I stop? Dan, I'm sorry. I would have said I didn't know that was you, but congratulations, good luck, and looking forward to meeting you.
Thank you. Yeah, likewise. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, take care.
Great. We're thrilled to have you on and get a chance to meet some of us. I know you had an opportunity to meet with some of the community during the interview process, but I'm excited to introduce you through today and Woburn to a broader set of folks. You went through, as all of our school leaders do, a pretty extensive process and a pretty public process as well. Mm-hmm. What are you most looking forward to in joining us in Woburn next school year?
Thank you. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity. I think the thing I'm most looking forward to is just getting to know the students and families and the educators at the high school. Really looking forward to just getting familiar with the school and the community and figuring out what we can do as a team to move things forward for students.
Always students are at the heart of the things that we do. Where are some of the opportunities you see in terms of new things we might be able to do and accomplish together in Woburn?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think it's too early for me to tell because I'm not there yet. And I'm really hesitant about coming in as someone who isn't from the community, isn't familiar with it, and saying, oh, these are the things that we're going to do right off the bat. I think one thing that I have been doing is just trying to do as much fact finding and due diligence as I can, just looking around data around student achievement and what are some existing practices and structures and basically how things are set up. I learned very quickly from my interview process that the schedule is something that needs to be looked at. For example, diversity in faculty and staff came up early and often. But I'm really just excited to hear from the people that are there and have been there about some of the things that they want to see improve or evolve as we get into it.
I'm going to ask you to go back into the Wayback Machine a little bit and do some time travel to, what inspired you to get into education? Those of you who watch the show might have heard me talk in the past. My parents were educators, and my sister actually is an educator, not in Woburn, but in other communities. And I have just such a deep respect and awe for people who work in a school system, but also I could never imagine myself doing it. It is a really, really tough job in a lot of ways. Very rewarding too, I'm sure. But what got you started on this journey?
Yeah, so the rewarding piece is what got me into it and what keeps me into it. I spent the first few years after college working in finance, and I realized after a bunch of years of 12-hour days in a cubicle that I wanted to do something that made a difference to kids. I had some really, really impactful coaches and teachers when I was a kid, especially in high school. And as I was kind of mapping out my future, I really wanted to do something that where I could be that to somebody or to a group of students. And so I was a, career changer, and I started teaching English at Lawrence High School when I was 30 years old, and haven't looked back. It's the best change that I could have made.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a big leap going from finance to teaching English.
It was a big leap, yeah. But a lot of people were rather surprised, but it was the right thing to do.
I think we have grown up in a generation, not assuming your age, but sort of just in general, I think many of us grew up in a generation where our grandparents worked for the same company their whole lives. Our parents did the same thing, but for different companies. And us and our children will have multiple careers probably in our life. And learning how to learn and loving learning is a part of being prepared for that reality.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I was lucky in a way because I didn't have any preconceived notions. I didn't have certainly any real good habits, but any bad habits either. And I was lucky to work for administrators and lead teachers that took me under their wing and really taught me how to teach. And I was very fortunate for that. And, I grew into the relationship building, and, the things that make teaching so powerful came pretty quickly. And I've been working ever since just to keep getting better at teaching and always just learning and trying to instill that culture wherever I may end up.
If you had to describe your, sort of educational vision or philosophy, how would you, maybe talk about that to some of us non-educators who maybe aren't as familiar with some of the formal things around that?
Yeah, and no, it's a good question. I think doing it without jargon is important too, because I think at the heart of it, any philosophy on education has to start and end with what's best for students. And I'm someone who believes and have seen that learning can be really transformative. And I think another piece of that is that all students are capable of high levels of academic achievement. And I think schools have a responsibility to always be examining practices in relation to outcomes to make sure that students are all being challenged and supported. And in order for that to happen, I think it's important that schools need to work in harmony. And that includes teachers, admin, students, families, the community, all working towards a common vision and a common goal. And just always examining how you're doing and what could we be doing better.
So as a child of educators, and my dad was an administrator in schools and my sister was at one point as well, I know that, we don't show up the Thursday after Labor Day and schoolwork starts, right? Sometimes it feels that way for us as parents or students, but there's an awful lot of work that happens to prepare for the opening of school. Tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing between now and, the beginning of school to get to know students and staff and make sure we're off to the best year possible.
Yeah, so I'm lucky enough that as I finish up in Lawrence, we are done on Wednesday, and good for me, maybe not so great for the students and parents of Woburn. There's a little bit of a ways to go until school ends. So I'm going to be spending as much time almost on a daily basis at the high school for the last couple of weeks of school. And my plan is just to listen and talk to people and try to really get a feel for the school, what's working well, what people might want to see change, knowing that, coming in as a first year principal, I'm not in a place to dictate, this is going to change, that's going to change. I need to really understand the community first. And it really is just going to be around me being visible and being open to feedback and just actually hearing what people say and giving people opportunity for meaningful input.
That's great. So I know that, there was an interview process, and it is in large part public interview process, but I also know a lot of people who watch the show might not have participated in any of the open forums or might not have seen any of the details behind that. Tell us about yourself and your education journey and what you think it's valuable for not just parents, but also students to know about you as an educator and coming here, the experience you bring.
Yeah, so I feel very fortunate to have been selected for this position. I know there were several really highly qualified candidates. And I think over the interview process, it became pretty clear to me that what I bring to the table just aligns really well with where I think Woburn wants to go. Because having, I spent 13 years in Lawrence as an English teacher and then a principal and an administrator. And the first couple of years of my administration experience were on campus with 3,000 students. And then I was principal of a smaller alternative school. But in all of those environments, I was able to lead learning environments that grew and adapted and evolved to meet the needs of very diverse learners. And I think that the quest or the seeking out of progress is something I heard a lot of during my interview process from every single stakeholder group that I talked to. And I've been able to do that. I think I have a very collaborative approach. I don't have all the answers. I value feedback and input, and I depend on that. And I think learning about Woburn as much as I have, it's a really proud community. There's a lot of passion for the community. I heard the phrase Tanner Pride a whole bunch. And the fact that, I've met a lot of people already that are from Woburn and don't seem to have left Woburn, and that's a testament to the type of community it is. So, I think being able to lead schools and having worked in schools where there has been a lot of focus on doing what's best for students and a lot of need to create a vision and to bring people together to achieve that vision, I think is something that I'm able to bring to the table. And I'm, all I can do is come in and just be open and try to build trust and, generate a culture where people are open to doing what's best for students, even if it may be a little bit uncomfortable.
I appreciate that. As a parent, I didn't grow up in Woburn, but I've now been here for enough decades that it feels almost like I never was anywhere else. And all of my kids who are now adults went through Woburn schools. One of our children did go to a vocational school, which is the public vocational school, but the other two went to Woburn High and had great experiences. They had great teachers. They had great experiences outside school. They learned to love learning, and that's the most important thing that we can hope for. So welcome to the community. Outside of education and school, what are some of the things that you enjoy spending time doing?
So I spend a lot of my time, my wife and I watch our kids play sports. I have two daughters, one in 7th grade, one in 6th grade, and currently it's soccer and lacrosse. And then there's basketball and on we go. So I'm outside getting sunburnt watching sports or attempting to golf, or, if I'm trying to have some downtime, I'll read or watch movies with my family and just try to de-stress and relax as much as possible.
I love it. Well, welcome to Woburn. We're so happy that you were able to join us today to get to know you a little bit. Once you get into school and get started, we'll have you back on.
That would be great. I'd appreciate it.
Thanks for joining. Next up, Phil from Social Capital Inc. Welcome, Phil.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
I'm really glad you're here. I've had a chance to have a little bit of some of the behind the scenes for the amazing event that you are spearheading. And I know how hard you and the entire committee is working to make this a really memorable, meaningful experience for our community. I think it's really important to remember what we're coming together to celebrate. So if you could give us just a really short little reminder about what Juneteenth is all about.
Yeah, so Juneteenth is now a federal holiday that's celebrating the emancipation of enslaved people within the United States. It was first celebrated by freed enslaved people in Texas on June 19th in 1865. So it's really a holiday that focuses on an important moment in the history of this country. I think it's really important to recognize and be educated about the good and bad things of our past, but it's also an opportunity to celebrate the resilience of Black Americans since slavery, before slavery, till today, and a lot of the great things that Black culture has brought to American culture as a whole.
We've had Juneteenth celebration last year, and even the year before, I believe. Now, this is our third annual. Do I have that correct?
Third, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And every year, bigger, bolder, and more exciting. This year, no exception to that. Tell us about some of the awesome stuff that we have planned.
Yeah, so I have a hard time like not trying to do as much as possible. So this year we're kicking off the event at 1 p.m. With a panel discussion that's featuring Michael Bobbitt, who's the executive director of the Mass Cultural Council, as well as Beth Chandler, who's CEO of YW Boston, which is formerly YWCA Boston, and Jillian Harvey, who's the director of DEI in the town of Arlington, but also the president of the Mystic Valley area NAACP branch, which is our local branch, what the Woburn community is a part of. So that's a few of the people that are going to be in the panel. Then at 2 p.m., we've got a speaking program. We're going to have some local elected officials, but that's really going to be headlined by the Massachusetts Attorney General, Andrea Joy Campbell. So we're really excited about her presence there, and as well as her words that she's going to share. And then at 3 p.m., we're going to have an hour of student performances. And the highlight of that is going to be a performance by the Woburn Memorial High School STEP team. And they also performed last year, so we're excited to have them back. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with a 3.5-hour concert starting at 4 p.m. That's really featuring all local Black musical artists. And that's going to be headlined by Latrell James. And I'll share a little bit more about that later, sure.
I have to tell you, it sounds amazing. I saw the STEP team last year. They were so fun to watch. All of this sounds really incredible. This is all happening where?
This is going to be at Library Park Field in Woburn. So the event's just going to run from 1 to 8 p.m. In addition to the things that are happening on Library Field, there are going to be family activities happening inside the Woburn Public Library, which is right next door, right adjacent. We're also going to have food, community tables, vendor market, and then we're also going to be selling Juneteenth apparel for sale. So make sure you stop by the SCI table to get yourself a t-shirt or a tank top or a trucker hat or something.
I have to tell you, I was looking at some of the musicians who are coming for the music festival, which is totally a new part of our celebration. And I was really impressed. I was just sort of sampling online some of the music that's going to be there. Mm-hmm. It's going to be amazing. Tell us about how this all came to be, Phil. Like, it feels like you just collect, every time I turned around, there was a new awesome musician coming.
Yeah. So this really kind of stemmed from last year. So last year, if you attended or you remember, we had a local artist exhibit. And one of those artists, Joey James, he's also a musical artist and has been the Boston hip hop scene for a really long time. So he's really connected. And I've got the pleasure to kind of work with him since last year on some other projects. And when Juneteenth came around, I was like, this is really what I want to do. And really, I wanted to have the opportunity to give a platform because I realized there's so many great artists, especially Black artists, in the Boston area. But as you know, it's not always the same opportunities to get those platforms to really show their talent. So for me, this was a really great opportunity to do that, as well as hopefully bring more people into Woburn to experience what Woburn has to offer as well. So it was really great combo there. And so, yeah, I mean, social capital at work, basically.
I love it. Amazing free music. So on the evening, come out. I hope lots of people come out and enjoy it. That's going to be so much fun. If anybody wants to look online, just, remind themselves of the schedule and where things are happening. Where is the best place for them to go check that out?
So they should go to socialcapitalinc.org/Juneteenth. Drop that in the chat. That's going to have the full event list. It's going to have like all of our speakers, all of our artists. We also have a Spotify playlist that's embedded on the page for some of the artists if you're interested in hearing more or learning more about their music. So everything can be found online.
Awesome, Phil. Thank you so much for all the work you've done to bring this to our community. It's going to be an amazing success. I can't wait to hear all that music. I think I'll be able to even hear it maybe from my own home, which will be awesome. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you, Samantha.
Next up, Maureen, welcome.
Welcome. Hi, Samantha. How are you?
Welcome me too. It's okay.
Welcome.
I don't mind.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. It was
Well,
great to hear about all the Woburn stuff going on beforehand.
Yeah, we are such a blessed community to have so many amazing things happening. And I'm really excited to have you on because your mission, MACA's mission, is really important. Tell us a little bit about what began. I know it is founded in memory of a very special person. Tell us about that person and how this all started.
Yes, so we decided we lost, I'm a mom of 4. Justin was my youngest. I have Ryan, Lauren, James, and Justin. And Justin struggled with mental health and addiction issues after high school and college years, and was in recovery, relapsed, and we lost him on February 2nd, 2020, 10 days before his 22nd birthday, unfortunately. So COVID came or was coming at that, and we talked about it, and we decided we needed to do something for the good to move forward. Like if Justin was still here, he would be doing good things. He was doing good things in recovery. So Maca was his nickname at Woburn High that his friends called him. And, so Maca's mission came to my name. Sometimes I think he gives me a nudge in many ways. And so we started in May of 2021 was when we first incorporated. We are a 501 registered 501c3 this coming year. And we've just been really the recovery community is amazing. It is amazing. People do recover, but a lot of people lose their lives. And the people we've met, the people we've been able to help so far, it's pretty inspiring. It's inspiring. It keeps us. It helps. It helps with the loss of such an amazing individual in our life, in our community.
Well, I didn't know Justin, but I can tell just from the way you speak about him and all the ways that he's inspiring you to do this, that he would be so proud and so excited to see this incredible work in his honor. This is, it's great.
Yeah. I think he would be proud. I really think he would be, because we're, and him and Jimmy, my 3rd and 4th, they were born a decade after Ryan and Lauren, and they were Irish twins. They were as close as could be. And Justin played football growing up, and Jimmy did as well. And that was Jimmy's sport. Justin turned into football more in high school and stuff. But so we started this basketball tournament last year, and Jimmy was a driving force. All the family, Maca's Mission Board is consisted of, all my immediate family, my daughter-in-law, and I'm happy to say soon to be son-in-law this summer. And we have a new grandson, so he'll be part of it all too. And it makes you feel good. It keeps you, for a mom, it keeps me getting up every day and moving forward and planning. And, I have a lot to be grateful for. And as much as we miss him, I feel like he is really happy. We have friends, all his high school friends, a lot of them are playing in the tournament, and a lot of his friends in recovery. And it's been good for the soul. Let me tell you, it just really has.
I love it. So tell me how the funds raised are used.
Yeah. So last year we were able to, most of it, everything that is a proceed will go towards supporting individuals in their recovery, which looks like last year we did some sober house scholarships, Michael's Place and Patrick's Place, that are in local communities around. We did a retreat for a sober house in Medford for them to go away for like an AA weekend. We have worked closely with the homeless and Hope for Boston's homeless. They're out of Stoneham. They go into Mass and Cass once a month. I've filled backpacks. We've donated clothes. And the Movement family in Lawrence is another. We just sponsored a dinner there in memory of Justin, to help those, because the majority of those, so many homeless have mental health and addiction issues, and so it's just so that's what we're hoping for this year. We get to have sponsors this year, so I think we're at our goal from last year, so we're hoping to double it and just give out more scholarship for people who just need a hand to go in the right direction. And it just can be, some of the wonderful stories we've heard are amazing. And I just heard from Justin has passed over 3 years ago, and I just heard from a person he was in rehab with and in sober living, and how he impacted his life and how he still thinks of him every day. And those those messages mean the world. I mean, they mean the world. That he's still thought of.
Amazing. And he's still having influence through these
Yes.
activities that you're doing and the mission that you formed and the work you're doing. Tell us about the basketball tournament itself. It's coming up.
Yes, on Saturday, June 24th, and the boys at the McEwen Boys and Girls Club, who have Julie and the staff there have been amazing to us. Let us use the facility, let us come in on Friday afternoon and set up. So this year we have a few more teams. We have a couple spots left. We made room for 32 teams this year. We had 26 last year. And it's just made up of a range of people, and we got people to donate. We have wonderful raffle baskets, and then we'll be there in the morning. The game started 10 round robins, and then we have, we get pizza and lunch. People can come by and watch the games, take a raffle, do raffles. We have Red Sox tickets, and a good friend from high school gave me a Al Horford signed basketball this year. I'm not sure what he has his sleeve up his sleeve this year. And this year we have an ice cream truck coming. If the young kids or adults want to come, that's coming at noontime for half an hour. The first 50 ice creams are free. And it was an amazing day last year, and I'm really looking forward to again. It really was an amazing day. And I hope people just come by, just want to come by and say hi. That's fine too, just to say hi. It's nice to see the community. Woburn is a great community.
It sounds like a really incredible, fabulous, positive day, and what a great cause to support. For those folks who might want to take one of those last slots in the basketball teams or want to make a donation, where can they get that information?
So we have, our website is macasmission.com, and it's MACKASMISSION. Maca, we have no apostrophe in Mac, and the sign up for the basketballs there, the sponsorships, if just to donate or just to read Justin's story and see what communities, what places we work with. We've had a friend of Justin's from high school work on his webpage for the last couple of years, and he's done an amazing job, and we appreciate it. We appreciate all the love and support. It really keeps us going.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and catching us all up. It sounds like a great event. I hope to see lots and lots of people participate. And Woburn, as always, I will miss you over the next 2 weeks, but I will be back July 3rd taping for our show, and we will probably publish that, I imagine, on the 5th because of the holiday, but we will be back with you that week, and I hope and look forward to seeing many of you participate in all the great activities we talked about today. As always, continue to take good care of each other.